My name is Thomas Miller. I'm 19 years old, born in Pennsylvania, America. This is where my story begins. The sun slowly rises through thick morning fog, casting warm light across muddy trenches. The smoke drifts across the battlefield as soldiers quietly prepare for the day. A 19-year-old American soldier slowly wakes on a rough wooden bunk as pale sunlight enters through the entrance. He looks tired, hears distant artillery and soldiers moving above, then quietly says, "Another morning. I barely slept last night. The sun's coming up, and it sounds like the fighting has already started. I should get ready before the rest of the men wake up." He grips his rifle and heads out. The commander walks through the empty front-line trenches at dawn, carefully checking each section to make sure everything is secure. He passes muddy trench walls, sandbags, wooden supports, and abandoned equipment, while fog and smoke drift through the early morning light. The commander notices damaged sections of the front-line trench and orders the soldiers to repair them. Soldiers quickly gather wooden planks, sandbags, and shovels, reinforcing the weakened trench walls. The soldiers sit on wooden crates and eat plain army rations, such as hard bread, basic porridge, and a small cup of tea. The soldiers look tired and quiet as morning light enters the trench. Thomas sits on wooden crates with paper and pencils, carefully writing messages to their families, while the sounds of distant artillery continue around them. He pauses to think about home, then continues writing with a small smile. He carefully folds the paper and holds it for a moment, thinking about his family and the life he left behind. Despite the noise and uncertainty around him, writing home gives him a brief feeling of peace and reminds him of home. He waits with his rifle beside him, watching the hours slowly pass while soldiers around him sit, talk quietly, or stare into the distance. He thinks about his family and his life back home, wishing he could be there. He quietly says, "The hours feel like they're barely moving. There's nothing to do but wait, and I keep thinking about home." Supplies are here, the sergeant says, so the soldiers quickly unload the crates and carry them along the muddy trench. One soldier sits in the trench, writing notes in a small notebook. Another stands at the trench keeping watch, while a third studies a map spread across a wooden crate. The rifle-cleaning soldier sits beside them and quietly joins their routine as they wait through the day. The 19-year-old and the other soldiers sit together on wooden crates, eating simple cornbread rations from their mess tins and drinking water. They quietly talk and rest for a moment as distant artillery can be heard. For the next couple of hours, he remains completely silent and still, watching the empty battlefield while the other soldiers are spread out along the trench. The silence feels lonely and endless, giving him time to think about his family and home. He quietly says, "These are the loneliest hours of the day. I just stand here and wait, thinking about home." Smoke drifts across the distant battlefield while he takes one final look into the distance and quietly says, "I just hope this ends soon." He then turns back toward the trench as night begins to fall. He lies on a rough wooden bunk with his equipment nearby while the other soldiers try to rest around him. Distant artillery and quiet voices can be heard outside. He closes his eyes, knowing they could be woken at any moment if fighting begins. The empty trench is quiet and still, with sandbags, wooden supports, abandoned equipment, and a small lantern glowing softly. Moonlight shines through the mist, while smoke slowly drifts across the distant battlefield. Everything feels unusually peaceful and calm, with only gentle wind and faint distant sounds. If you enjoyed this journey through a day in the life of a World War I soldier, consider subscribing to the channel. This is a new channel bringing history to life through immersive stories, cinematic visuals, and the experiences of people who lived through the past.